Hey y'all, it's Taker's Keep, and welcome back to my channel. Now, it's been a pretty long time since my last unboxing, or I should say, it's been a long time since my last huge AmiAmi haul. So, while I was away for vacation, I really stockpiled on the shipments from AmiAmi. I don't know why they decided to send everything all at once, but here we are. So, getting through all of these boxes now has been exciting, but also a bit tiring. Trying to go through everything all at once can be very overwhelming. However, I've been really excited for these picks that I have today. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, first up, we have my personal favorite from the Paldea region, Clodsire. Now, I keep forgetting what this style of plush was called, but it's got a lot more of a beanbag texture. Like, he has little beans in his stomach, and my god, is this thing soft. It's, honestly, it feels, I said it before, but it's very, very, very pillowy. I could honestly imagine throwing him on my couch downstairs and just having a good old time. I'm very happy with this purchase. I really don't have much else to say other than this is Clodsire, and he is big, and he's soft, and he's huggable. This is definitely one of my most anticipated purchases, though not a figure per se, but we have plenty of figures to get into. Now up next, we have the Persona 5, Persona 4, and Persona 3 Pro Tags in minifigure form. Developed by Good Smile Company from the figure line QSet. These are well, not even surprising, they're very affordable. I can't quite remember how much I paid for each of these, but it couldn't have been more than $10 each. And I'll be honest, I have not played all of the Persona games yet. I've really only completed Persona 5 Royal, but I just really love the designs, and they were at such a good price point. They were at such a good price point, I couldn't really not get them all, if you know what I mean. Once I got one of the Pro Tags, I really had to have all of them. Now, these figures aren't necessarily anything too spectacular, but I really do love their matching seating. Each of their chairs are unique to the character, but they all have this purple colorway, I should say purple with gray accents, and it just looks really clean. Very stylish, very reminiscent from their game franchise. And each of them do have their unique poses that really capture their characterization as silent protagonists. And having these figures in my collection really does remind me I have a lot of Atlas games to finish up. From Metaphor to SMT5 Vengeance, I have a lot of catching up to do. Now next, we have yet another pre-owned figure. And she may look really familiar because I unboxed another pre-owned figure from the same set. The first one being Saber Alter, but this one is actually, if I can get her out of the packaging, there we go. This one is regular Saber. Specifically the R version, because, before she falls out the packaging, I'm already messing up here. But the reason being, for this particular set of figures, Alter made the initial version of Saber in the Maid outfit, and it was a standalone figure. But when they re-released these figures, they actually made a special... They made Saber Alter, but they also made another Saber Maid figure to pair up. So they made them matching bases, and you can lock them into each other. They're supposed to be bought as a set, and initially, I wasn't really thinking that far ahead. I'm more of an Saber Alter fan, to be honest with you. You know, all the, the Saber stands can crucify me for having that take, but I just really liked Saber Alter's, toxic attitude more. That probably says more about me than Saber fans in general. But I don't know. I guess Saber, the OG Saber, is just a little too vanilla for my tastes. But after having Saber Alter for a bit, I felt like it was weird to have the Saber Alter Maid and not have Saber herself there as well. And thankfully, the price point wasn't too different. She was pre-owned for around $30, so it was kind of a no-brainer, especially when a lot more of my figures were being pushed back in terms of shipping, and I just wanted to find a figure to ship with the big AmiAmi shipment I received. So now I have the full set, and man, does she look good. I still remember, what was it again? I believe these figures are from 2011. I have to double check that again, but that just comes to show how well Alter sculpts their figures in general. Like, Alter just doesn't miss. They've just been really good at sculpting these figures even before anime figures modernized and they got more detailed over time. Like, they really got the frills in her dress really spot on. I just really love the pose where she's posing up with the mop like she's posing with Excalibur. It's just really a sight to behold. I'm very happy to finally have a complete set of these Maid figures. Alright, and now we go from one gacha game to another. Blue Archive. Now, I will be honest with you. I've kind of burnt myself out of Blue Archive, but I'm still collecting the figures. Maybe I'm just that, terminally ill when it comes to gacha games, but I really just fell in love with Iori's character design. So I really still went through with my pre-order for her. And I've heard many great things about how Spirit Tail did a great job on these figures, so I was just really excited to see for myself what I'd be getting into. And yeah, the boxing looks a little different from some of the other figures I've unboxed. It's all plastic instead of cardboard with a window, so you can actually see almost all of the figure from the box, which is really cool to see. Like, I can already see from the packaging that her face looks pretty good. So let's get into it. But now I have more room to work. Now, I will say, Spirit Tail did not disappoint with this figure at all. Iori is absolutely on point, because oh my god, I love everything about this figure. Damn, did Spirit Tail get Iori's skin tone down to a T. Like, it's really warm, a really warm skin tone, slightly tanned. They did a really good job from her character artwork, because I believe this pose is just straight from her portrait from Blue Archive, but they captured it in such stunning detail. I'm just impressed. And of course, this figure came with 2 faceplates, or I should say they used heads instead of faceplates, which is really good, because when I do enjoy the fact that they went with heads instead of faceplates, because there isn't a seam between her bangs and the rest of her hair, which is apparent, very, very apparent on things like Nendoroids that have changeable faceplates. They were able to hide a lot of seams because of that one detail. Of course, they had to use more plastic, so this figure is a little bit more expensive than others, at about 25,000 yen, I believe. But who am I kidding? 25,000 yen for scale figures is pretty standard at this point. But really spectacular work. It is a little precarious to take her out. Take her head off of her body. I mean, first you have to kind of take her pigtails off, and then you have to carefully wiggle the head out from the figure. But once you do all that, it's a pretty simple process to put her back in, and doesn't really require me taking the rifle out of her hand. There was a slight problem with the molding as I was putting the hair in. There's a little bit of there's a bit of a blockage in the head holes. But they cleared out pretty well once I forced the pigtails in. That is a little bit of QC issue, but nothing too crazy. And then once you are able to swap the head out, we do have an embarrassed face, which looks really cute. I'm really torn between her embarrassed face and her regular stoic face. They are both really, really good sculpts. Her pigtails actually, they go into slightly translucent tips, starting with a really solid pink into a lighter pink. And that is a trait that's shared with a lot of other Blue Archive figures, but Spirit Tail just does it very, very well. It gives her a very ethereal appearance, the way her hair goes into that translucency. And now Jacko, she is in her signature pose. I know this pose, what was it, I feel like it was early 2020, 2021? I just remember the pose absolutely destroying the internet, taking the internet by storm, going to places that weren't even Guilty Gear related. Like, Strive really broke the internet, and it's probably why, Guilty Gear Strive is so successful, is because of Jacko going viral. And God knows why it took them so long to make a figure of her. And they took Apex Toys took a very unorthodox approach with making her. They made her a 1/9 scale, which you rarely see. Usually, usually they're 1/8, but 1/9 is remarkably small for a scale figure. But I do appreciate that they added a little bonus. We have a keychain of Jacko. I'm not sure if I'm capturing it right, but it has the front and back because they are an incredibly cultured manufacturer, Apex. Gotta love the Chinese manufacturers, am I right? Here we go, and I can already tell that she is tiny. Her head is remarkably small, like very, very small. But somehow they made her base the size of an average 1/7. Just look at that. Now, thankfully, you don't need to use the base for this figure just because of how her pose is. But damn, did they go really large with it. Wherever the halo goes. Oh, base of the link. Alright. Yeah, it is really hard to see her face. Now, yes, I understand this pose is iconic, but the way her halo is positioned and just how low her body is being stretched, you really can only see her ass. Which I guess is the point of the figure, but damn. One of the best things about having a scale figure is the way that they sculpt her face, but the fact that you can't really appreciate that from most angles definitely ruins the experience a bit. The sculpting that Apex did with this figure is still fantastic, and there's just a lot of detail, especially for a figure that retails at around $40. So really competing with Pop-Up Parade's line of figures. And if I have to give a size comparison, she is really close in size to a standard Pop-Up Parade, which was probably the point of this figure in general. It's just kind of a shame that if you have her on a shelf that's too low, you're not going to be seeing any of her face. You'll be seeing everything else but her face. Between the size not being the largest and it being very hard to appreciate all of the sculpting that she has done to her, a little disappointing, but I feel like as a Guilty Gear fan, beggars can't be choosers. There's not many figures on the market that's not Bridget at this point. So, you know, we just gotta take what we can get. Now, moving on from Jacko, we have yet another popular character from the King of Fighters series, Angel. I believe is how you pronounce her name. I know I've always pronounced her name as Angel before, but there is an accent over the A from what I can notice. So I believe it's Angel. I don't know. Maybe my Hispanic viewers can correct me if I'm wrong, but I was very excited for that Angel is getting a figure herself from the shoujo line of Kotobukiya. In Kotobukiya fashion, the figure is already pre-assembled, so not much to really flail around with. If I can get it out. The blister packaging is really tight, though. Go. Awesome. Yeah, this is yet another amazing figure from Kotobukiya. They did a fantastic job, if I say so myself. Of course, her face is pretty standard by Bishoujo standards. Very much more cutesy than the original artwork of Angel, but Angel was always a pretty cute character, so they just kind of amped it up a bit more. Very, very good posing. They did a very good job with the sculpt. I really do love what they did with her leather jacket. They captured each wrinkle in the leather, as well as the sheen. Just very good shading all around, from the jacket to the hair. And what really, really, really grabs my attention is just the absolute sculpting they did to her stomach, to her midriff. If you're an Angel fan or a fighting game fan in general, this will be a fantastic figure to add to your collection. I know I was really impressed with Shiromi and Terry, but I believe that this might be the best Bishoujo figure that Kotobukiya has ever come out with. Now, this last figure is very special, because I promised myself a couple things before really getting into the figure collecting hobby. I wasn't going to get into bunnies, and I wasn't going to get into 1/4. I already broke the rule about no bunnies with Power and Makima from a couple unboxings back, but I broke the rule again, and I got a 1/4 bunny from Freeing. Yeah, Shimakaze. I don't even think I have myself in frame. Shimakaze from Azur Lane. Yeah, I think I broke a third rule. I said I wasn't gonna get any more Azur Lane figures, but here I am. I've always loved Shimakaze's design. She is designed as a bunny. Go figure. So it was a pretty easy transition for Freeing to put her in a bunny outfit. Yeah, I'm just mentally ill, guys. And man, this box is massive. Yeah, 1/4 scales are an entirely different beast from what I'm used to. Now, I'm quite concerned though about where I can place her. Oh, this is magnetic. Oh, there is some really great craftsmanship to this figure. I've always kind of avoided Freeing just because their price range was always really high, at least when I checked. Like, they'd always be around almost 40,000 yen, and that was way more than I wanted to pay for a figure, at least one figure. And again, I reiterate, these figures are massive. I don't know where I'm gonna put them yet. I'm still deciding on that. I guess I'll put her on the chair for now. Yeah, that clips right in. That's actually... Ooh, I'm still a little nervous about this one. I'm still nervous about her. But so far, she seems pretty stable. Yeah, the holes are yet again sculpted a little awkwardly. The holes could have been sculpted a bit better. Well, I just broke the stem of the glass. Go ahead and glue it back together. Note to self, be very careful with the stems because they are very delicate. Let's take off these. The placeholder ears. And now I slot in these ears and they go in so much easier than her hair pieces. Go figure. Check on the stem. Should be good to go now. The power of God and glue was on my side with this figure. She is a very impressively sized figure. And I really, when figures get blown up to this size, it actually is amazing that they are still able to capture a lot of detail in the sculpt with some very spectacular fishnet stockings. I'm not sure if I would continue buying freeing bunnies after this, just because I love the character, I love the design, but it's just so huge. I'm just trying to think of where I can pose her where she isn't like being too imposing. I really enjoy the metal construction of the bar stool and the way it actually spins like a bar stool. I know this is not supposed to be a fidget toy. This is a very expensive collectible figure, but man, this is so fun. I'm just really, they really have some very creative solutions to making sure this figure that's in such a precarious position balanced correctly with magnets, as well as making the bar stool functional. That is just super creative, and I love that for Freeing. Freeing put a lot of creative elements to this figure that I can appreciate. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have paid the original 40k yen price tag for her, but due to her being 50% off and being on sale, it made me, bite the bullet on her. But I still stand by Freeing not quite putting in 40 yen worth of effort into their figures. I still think these bunny figures are overhyped, but it doesn't make me any less excited to add a 1/4 scale to my collection. I just need to figure out where she'll go. And with that, thank you very much for joining me on this unboxing today. If you liked what you saw, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next figure haul. See ya!